Whoa. Lifted. Straight piped. On my way. In Arlington, Washington. My ride has left, so I have to buy this thing. Luckily, while I'm waiting, there's a pilot lounge with a vending machine with very stale Pirate's Booty and a very comfortable recliner. You can hear the unmistakable sound of a straight pipe V8 approaching. Here it is. Look at this beautiful, beautiful automobile. Best thing is how the door closes. It just doesn't. And the lights sometimes work, sometimes don't, and they're just not on now. I don't know what any of these things do. There's an anti-lock brake warning, a check engine light warning, check air suspension warning, door ajar warning, a lot of beeps. It has big tires in the front and the back. The fronts are very old. It has absolutely no exhaust, which is perfect. It has a lot of stickers. It has a roof rack, which is cool, but the best part is the front. Look at that. We got horns, we got a 4Runner bumper welded on there, something hanging down. Oh, it's just plastic, and very comfy seats. This door is really fun because you have to lift it up to close it, and then you can't open it from the inside. And now, even from the outside, it won't let me out. But before hitting the highway, it really needed some gas, but it really didn't want to accept any gas. After that, I started messing around with all the lights, and they don't work great. They're very finicky, and everything is flashing or beeping out or glitching out. It's great. About to hit the highway now in the thing, and it thinks the door's open, and it keeps going into kilometers. The transmission does this nice thing where if you put it in any of the gear above first, it just shifts super early. So you kind of got to drive it like a manual, but way worse. And also, as you can tell by the sound, it is completely straight piped, which is the only good thing about it. Beeping about something, but I don't know what. We've got a few miles down the highway now, and the dash is still just switching back and forth between kilometers and miles at a very rapid pace, and it of course beeps every time that it does. Horns are cool, the heater is very warm, the ride is very smooth, it's pretty quiet. Overall not too bad. If the beeping would just stop, it's so annoying. I've found that if I hold the button to go from kilometers to miles, then it stops. Okay, now it decides not to. Thankfully, after what felt like an eternity, the beeping finally stopped. But then it started raining, of course. Well, after a little more driving, we pulled off the highway. Somehow the beeping has stopped, so I'm just not going to touch anything ever again. The wipers are genuinely dangerous, though. I can't see anything, so I'm going to see if I can do anything about that. I did mention earlier that the heater was very warm, and that's turning out to be a problem because it doesn't go anything below full warm, so it's very warm in here. And the right rear door, conveniently, the window is just nice and open. It's good. And if you try and raise it, nothing happens. In a desperate attempt to be able to see where I'm going, I'm putting the passenger side wiper on the driver's side. Passenger one isn't great, but I'm hoping it's better than this one, because while this one looks okay, it is not. And the ignition does this fun thing where it's super, super stiff and sometimes just doesn't turn. That's not really any better. Good. Unfortunately, the rain looks to have died down, so let's give it another go. Something's rubbing on the right front. It also has a welded diff. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, so that makes turning fun. Able to get some burbles here. In the words of Clarkson, what an appalling heap of junk. Well, I misspoke. The rain came back with a vengeance. Somehow visibility with this wiper is slightly better, although it is not great. I've picked this car in front of me and I'm just following them wherever they go. That's where I'm going. Finally off the highway. The beeping came and went a couple times, but it's staying off for the most part. And the town car has made it home. The beeping was driving me absolutely crazy, but everything else on this car is actually pretty good for $1,300. The electronics unfortunately leave a little bit to be desired, but that's kind of what you expect from a 90s town car, especially a 90s town car that lets in so much water. This is just from one night, and it smells a lot like mold in there. But now into the good, and there was a lot of good with this particular vehicle. First off, rear tires. These are KO2s from 2017, and they have great tread left. Not so good are the front tires. These are BFG KOs, and I think they stopped making these in about 2015. They do have good tread, but they could be very old. More good on the front end. The fake bullhorns, of course. And this front bumper is a 4Runner bumper that was shortened to fit, and it fits beautifully. One more very good thing are the seats. These things are super comfortable. The smell is still not great. Oh, that's nice. That might have a little something to do with the smell. The stickers on the back are very enthusiastic. It has a pretty cool roof rack that somehow it doesn't make a whole lot of noise when you're going down the highway. And another thing that I consider good, but most people would probably consider bad, is the exhaust situation. It's obviously very straight piped, and the rears, I think they need to be rehung. And in the massive trunk, we'll find some bumpers. I think these are tire chains. You'll also notice the front sway bars in here, not on the front of the car where you'd like it to be. As a result of that, plus the front shocks being blown, this thing rides a little bit like that. But somehow... Okay, the door panels... Oh, it's wet. Ugh. Anyways, as I was saying, somehow... yeah, this is a nice door. Perfect. Somehow, what I have not yet done is looked under the hood. V8 motor. It's crusty, I'll say that. There's not a whole lot of coolant in there, but the coolant temps did stay very steady on the drive home. It definitely has been sitting outside for quite some time. I wonder if it has oil in it. Yes, it does. That's good. I should have checked that a long time ago. Let's fire this thing up and not only hear the beautiful exhaust, but I want to hear the actual engine too. And check this out, it has a 113,000 miles. This thing is barely broken in. Wow, this thing sounds really smooth. Well, now it's time to pull it inside, but to do that I've got to thread the needle between my Crown Vic and the bushes. I don't know if that's doable. Try to keep it centered, Oops. Too far to the left. Oops. Man, I'm just not very aligned today. If I go swing really wide. This driveway's just not big enough. What about another go? I give up. The Crown Vic's coming back for revenge. Ooh, that sounded bad. And the Crown Vic is inside and lifted up. First thing on my mind is seeing what is the date on these tires. They're from 2013, so they're 11 years old. That's actually not as bad as I was expecting. And in other news underneath, the exhaust is falling down. Everything is covered with a nice little layer of rust. Here's the exhaust, and it just kind of just does that. It's So I'm going to see what I can do very cheaply and quickly to hold that up. Probably just going to replicate the wires that were already there. The rear control arms are lengthened, which is pretty cool. But other than that, I'm not seeing anything too concerning under there. Back up top, and I've got my dehumidifier in there cranking away, trying to get some of that water out of there. And back up front, the air filter is filled with mice poop, it looks like. I also put new wiper blades on it because it desperately needed those. So as we saw with the previous exhaust, the safety wire method of holding it up didn't work. So what I did is I did more safety wire and thicker safety wire. So if that doesn't work, then I don't know what else will. Except, of course, real exhaust hangers. It's time to drop it down. I pulled all the dash trim out and I unplugged the switch that in theory moves it between kilometers and miles. And I'm hoping that stops the incessant beeping like it's doing now. But there's only one way to find out. So far, so good. So I do believe the beeping issue is fixed, fingers crossed, or knock on fake wood. The low beams suck, high beams actually not too bad. Really the only remaining issue that is really annoying is the mold. There's mold everywhere, it smells terrible in here. Well, I just found / created another problem. The driver's door handle just broke, so I was trying to close this door, so it's gonna be entrance through the passenger side only from now on. So we're in the town car now. Ben, you're gonna be driving this on the Cheap Car Challenge that starts tomorrow. What are your first impressions?
I think it'll do.
You think it'll do?
It'll do.
I've been looking at the title and we have been gypped, we have been hoodwinked, bamboozled even. It's a 94, it's not a 93.
Oh,
I thought it was a 93.
taking it back to the dealership.
Also, it was a former rental, so it's been treated very well.
It is getting hot.
Yeah, the heater's full blast. You can turn the fan down, but you can't turn the temp down.
We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh yeah.
Aren't the horns the best thing ever, Tim?
Oh, that is such a cool view.
We need horns on everything we have.
I've never felt more American in my life. That is a good sound.
It really is. It sounds terrible at idle, but once you get on it.
Can you imagine this thing flying through the air?
I really can.
60 miles an hour.
Painted orange.
Can you imagine the grandma that bought this thing new? Seeing what it's doing now? Yeah.
She'd be proud.
She'd be so proud. You don't even have to go fast to have fun in
No.
this now.
You can't. It's not an option. The low beams are terrible.
There's a road out there somewhere. We got bullhorns. We don't need a road.
They are fake bullhorns though, so don't get too
Keep the
confident.
commies away.
After your first drive, are you ready for tomorrow?
Well, you know.
Those are my Crocs. I'm gonna take that as a yes, you're very excited for tomorrow.
Yeah, we just got back, you know, grueling 20-minute drive, scaring trick-or-treaters here and there.
It is Halloween night.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that with your amazing interview. But tomorrow this thing is gonna
My name's
really see its
Tex.
first test. I can't talk
Tex
either.
Lincoln. So we got Tex Croc Lincoln.
Those are my Crocs.